Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. Welcome to the Snowflake Viewpoint, episode 74. The date and time is the 14th of October, 2024 at 8 p.m. UK time, where we cover news and politics, or the most current UK news and politics here on the channel. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. How are you guys all doing? I hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a good weekend and a good long week. I know this may surprise some people, but I was on holiday. Yes, I was on holiday. It may not have looked like it, given that there was so much content dropping. But I was on holiday, guys. I generally was. So I produced all that content within a few days for you guys. I don't know how I did it, but I did. Somehow I didn't lose my voice in the process of doing it as well, which is quite incredible as well. But for some reason I've struggled to record today, but I did manage to get a Rumble video out today. I did not manage to get a Patreon one out, so I do apologize to Patreon followers and paid members. There is obviously still paid content for you guys, but I will get content out for you guys on those platforms tomorrow for the rest of the week. I will do that. And I will obviously, I may do tonight before I go to bed. I may schedule the rest of the live streams that I plan as well. Let me just, before I just talk about plans on the channel and whatnot, let me just see who's here in the chat. Stephen Banker, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Jao is here. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I did not see you in Portugal, I'm afraid, while I was out there. Hope you're doing well. Mad Monk, good to see you, buddy. 4 times today we have said hi on the live stream. Folk might start talking 4 times today. Well, there was 2 live streams. Yes, there were 2 live streams. Where was the other one? Not sure. David Gerardo, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Dave McGuinness, good to see you there, buddy. Good to see you there. I hope you're doing well, guys. Make sure you check out the 2 Davies YouTube channel as well. There. Do you think Reganelite is cold? He looks all wrapped up. It is very cold here. We haven't had the heating on. We've only recently been put it on. Today it's been really, really cold. So yes, I am literally wearing gloves and a hat today, guys. Just the heating is on, I can assure you. But yeah, I am very cold at the moment. Simon says 55. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Look like a cat burglar. Apparently so. Daily Bloods, hey, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Well, good to see you, buddy. Guys, make sure you check out Daily Bloods' YouTube channel. Wonderful content. Good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. Alistair Keir as well there. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Saw you on the two Davies earlier as well. Number 3, good to see you there as well. I hope you're doing well. Great to see so many people turning up. Hope you guys are all doing well. Right, so before we start with the content, obviously, I just want to talk about what's happening with just briefly, guys, what's happening with the channel and all that stuff. Hate Cloud9 on Twitch. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for popping in. I'm just going to address some things on YouTube, what's happening at the moment. So I came back on Sunday, and obviously I'm just trying to get my head around stuff. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I've been completely switched off from news and politics for pretty much the entire week that I was off. The only news that I found out about was basically Alex Salmond sadly passing away. I will do a video on that, talk a bit about Alex Salmond and whatnot on a video I'm going to do on Patreon about that. But I'll just briefly say, that my condolences to his friends and family and colleagues of Alex Salmond. I think he literally had a speech that morning, and then he had the heart attack, which it was very, very sad. Like regardless of whatever you think of him or his politics or whatever, I just want to put that out there. He has you know, he's had an impact in politics. That's the best thing I can say. But I'll shed more light about it when I do my Patreon video on it. Joe Lefty, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. It's good to see you there as well. Yeah, I needed a recharge. I absolutely needed a recharge. It was not like some of the other holidays that I've had in the past. It's been several years since myself and my partner have had a holiday like this. So yeah, we won't be having one like this for a very long time. I can assure you of that. That's for sure. Right, we back on. Stupid mic. I don't know why it turned off this time. I blame the orb. I blame the orb for it. Right. So live streams. There's going to be. So I've got Snowflake Corner. I'm still planning to do tomorrow at 1 p.m. I will schedule that for you guys tonight. Wednesday will be very busy. I believe there is Prime Minister's questions. I'll just double check. If there is, I will have that scheduled up as well as the Snowflake Watch as well. Just to remind you guys, I will be doing on at the end of the month, on the 30th of October, I will cover Prime Minister's questions and the budget in full here on the channel. We will live stream it here on the channel. So if you guys want to put yourself through that, through the budget as well as Prime Minister's questions, you are more than welcome to come and join me on that as well. And what we'll probably do on that day is we'll do the live stream of Snowflake Watch later on that evening, where we'll basically look at what the feedback and everything, what people are saying and whatnot, as well as give my own reactions as well. Thursday, I may have a live. I haven't planned this month for you guys. I have got no plan at the moment. I've got nobody available for Snowflake talks at all this month. However, I might have somebody. Just need to have a conversation with them before I can confirm to you guys. So just need to have a conversation with them, and I may have somebody for you guys this Thursday. So just as for the rest of the week, just hold off on that. There is one other person I definitely want to get on. I can definitely get contact with, but I may have to do it on a different night. So just I'll see what that person can do, what day he's available, and I'll get him on for a Snowflake Talks. And if I've got to shuffle around the live streams to have him on, I will do, because I really do like his content as well. As for the weekends, I'm pretty confident I'll have premiere videos for you guys as well. And Friday we'll be back with Snowflake Conflict. So live streams will return. I just need to obviously get round to doing them. As for the rest of the week, I'll have to wait and see. I did obviously say to you guys as well that I will be doing a round table with other YouTubers I'm planning to do next month. Daily Blase, David McGuinness, I know you guys are there in the chat. If you guys are interested, well, obviously I haven't picked a date yet, but if you guys are interested, I'll definitely message you guys. If you're interested, just let me know at all. There is one or two other people, so get three of us roundtable, talk about the latest, basically news and whatnot, and share our views on it. And I think, yeah, a nice roundtable discussion with four people, I think would be if I do start doing this, it would be a once a month thing. It's not going to be a weekly thing, guys, because I think, because everybody has their own channels and stuff to do, so it would only be once a month thing. So it makes it, making it once a month like that makes it super special as well. So I haven't had a decent holiday in ages. Well, this yeah, I mean, the holiday, we've spent a lot of savings on it. Number 3, yeah, we really put a lot of savings into it. So yeah, I definitely do not have the same amount as I used to have. But anyways, enough of all that, guys. Thanks you all for feedback of that. Whereabouts was you? Where was you in Portugal? I was near Fargo. I wasn't in Fargo, but near there, something like that. So somewhere around like that. Something like that. I feel bad for Reganelite. I'm sitting in my shorts and t-shirt as he's wrapped up like special forces in a fridge. What are you doing? What are you? You must be in the bathtub or something, man, punk. Dave McGinnis, thank you so much for this £2 super chat. I'm available Thursday. Yes, I will. Yeah, Mad Monk has told me your situation, Dave McGinnis. Thank you for the £2 super chat. I will get in touch with you. If not tonight, tomorrow I will. Buddy, I will definitely. Right. Thanks for that. Thanks for that super chat, David. I really appreciate it, buddy. Right. You don't want to hear any more dabbling. Let's get right into it, you guys. Like I said, you guys may have to help me out with some things. But this first story, guys. So this one from The Guardian. The headline is Kemi Badenoch is criticised for pamphlets stigmatising remarks on autism. The former cabinet colleague of Tory leadership candidate said muddled campaign essay does not take correct approach. So what is this about? Basically, the gist of it here is, and I'm just going to read this bit before I go on a tangent. So the Tory leadership candidate, Kemi Badenoch, has been criticised for a campaign pamphlet that says autistic people receive better treatment and economic privileges and protections. Like how, I just infuriates me when we have so many wealthy people in England right now. So many wealthy people, guys. And she has no idea what it's like for some people with autism. She has no idea what it's like for those people who are struggling with it, who have autism, who have these learning difficulties. She has no contemplation, no understanding of what it's like for these people. And they just think to themselves that they can just treat them like any other people. I honestly don't think Kemi gives two shits about people with mental health problems or autism or whatnot. She doesn't give a shit. You know, she's like, you're being lazy. You just can't be bothered to work. That's exactly what the mindset I have of her. Both her and Robert Jenrick are absolutely disgusting individuals. And the Conservatives, you know, I honestly don't understand why they think, but they are just absolutely insane. Appealing to the appeal that they are going down, it's just so disheartening. And it saddens me that still so many people in the media, so much of the British public, still support them, still after everything that they're saying. It's really, really disgusting, guys. It really, really is. Alistair Keir, thank you so much for the 20 gifted memberships. It recorded 2 of them. Nikki Brute was gifted the membership, and Elvis Black, it wasn't gifted the rest for some reason there. And then Alistair Keir gifted another 10 gifted memberships. Wow, 30. That's really generous of you, my friend. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. That's very kind of you, buddy. Yeah, Daily Blase, you should have YouTube memberships switched on for your live streams and super chats, buddy. You know, people want to financially support you in the work that you do, buddy. You should definitely have them on. People appreciate your work. You should definitely, if you need help doing that, Daily Blase, ask myself or any of our fellow YouTubers will definitely help you out if you need it set up, buddy. You should do. People want to show their appreciation for the work you do as well. Artibus, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. He's a secret millionaire, I reckon. Thank you so much for those gifted memberships, Alistair. I really appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. You've been one of the biggest supporters here on the channel, and I really appreciate it. And of course, I know number 3 and Dave McGinnis have been really supportive as well with whenever as well. And I'm sure there's 1 or 2 of the others have in the past as well. I know Joe Lefty is with super chats as well in the past. So those who do, but by the way, just because you're financially supporting me doesn't mean I don't appreciate. And even because I know some people are struggling out there, so I say the same thing. If you can't financially support, don't worry about it. Just hitting the like, sharing, subscribing, all that stuff, guys, helps. Okay. Right, let's read into this. God, I can't stand these two people. Who do I don't ask me who I want to win, because it's like picking two evils. Which one is more evil? Which one is more evil, guys? Seriously, actually, guys, who do you think is worse, Kemi Badenoch or Robert Jenrick? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Let me know who you guys actually think is worse. Who's going to be worse for the Conservative Party? Generally, let me know. So a pamphlet published by Badenoch's campaign team as the Conservative Party conference argued that conditions such as anxiety as well as autism diagnosis have gone from something that people should work on themselves as individuals to something that society, schools and employers have to adapt around. The 36-page essay titled Conservatism in Crisis claims to identify factors holding back economic growth. It was not written solely by Badenoch, but it features her campaign branding throughout, and she promoted it at conference fringe events. This is them attempts that this is all stems to Brexit, and I'm sure we're going to be mentioning Brexit again. You know, because we don't have the workers that we had before. Because we have many people who are stuck on sick notes and whatnot. This is a desperate attempt from them, and sadly, it looks like the Labour Party are going down this road from the looks of things as well. This is a desperate attempt to get more people into the workforce. I mean, I think Jonathan Gullis is still unemployed. I mean, I don't know why they haven't tried to get him in fruit picking or something, but you know, these people. Those with autism, I have no problem with schools, employers helping people get with these anxieties, helping them get into work or helping them with work so that they can actually be contributing factors to society. I have no problem with that, but there are some where the employers can only go so far. They can only do so much, and the same can be with schools. There's only so much that they can do. Where you need the healthcare service, the NHS, to step in and help. There's only so much that they can do. And you're asking, especially if they're a private company, you're asking them to put their hand in their pocket for this as well. I know there are some good companies out there that will help those who are struggling, but there are some who just don't give a shit. If you're not good and if you can't do the job, they're not going to go out of lengths here for you. And there are many like that, because at the end of the day, it's all about profit margins for the majority of those companies out there. I totally understand this premise, but I also understand that there are some people who need that support. And my fear is that this is once again an attempt to just push people out of their comfort zone against their will and make things worse for them rather than make things better, putting them in jobs that they're not uncomfortable doing or not capable of doing, just to get them off the benefits. And this is not going to fill the vacancies that we have in the UK, right, in England in particular right now. It's just not. So Robert Buckland, a former cabinet colleague of Badenoch, criticised the remarks about autism and suggested that they were stigmatising the spectrum condition. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Buckland, a former Justice Secretary who published a review into employment rates among autistic people, told the I paper that the essay section on autism appeared muddled and should not be stigmatising or lumping certain categories with one another. And that's exactly what they're doing. This is about, as we talk, and we've mentioned not just here, but you've heard it on other channels, guys, from other people. This is about dividing people. You know, have people turn their issues and problems on blaming other people for their problems, rather than blaming those in power, rather than blaming the millionaires and billionaires who are pumping right-wing propaganda, media, misleading information out there to say all your problems are immigrants, all your problems are these people on benefits. These are where all your problems are. That's where all the problem is. It's not government. It's not politicians. It's them. It's always other people. And that's what they're trying to do, guys. That's what this is about. This is about dividing people. I'm just pulling my drink closer. That's what it's all about, trying to divide people. Anxiety is considered a mental health condition by the NHS. It is, while the National Autistic Society defines autism as a developmental disability. The Buckland Review found that at least 700,000 autistic people were economically inactive because of the barriers they face in finding work. And don't get me wrong, you can find work for them, and it's just a case of finding a job that they are comfortable with, and they should be given as much support as possible as finding work, not pushed into work. That's the problem. We have in these job centres, the way they treat people is absolutely disgusting. And that needs to change as well. The culture in the job centre needs to change. That's a big problem as well. Yesterday, it's being diagnosed as neurodiverse has gone from an individual focused challenge that meant you could understand your own brain to something that offers economic advantages and protections. I do agree. I will say this though. Guys. I do agree that being forced to use your brain, using your brain, keeping yourself occupied and whatnot, can help stigmatize and help people with autism. If you've got a challenge or an objective in front of you, or if a set of them, it can help stimulate the brain and help them focus. And I do think in that part it can help. But for me, it's always about doing it as not rushing or forcing people against them doing it, and about giving them everything, give them the space that they're able to do a job that they get comfortable doing. I think that's really important. It says the diagnosis of anxiety and autism is being treated similarly to race or sex discrimination, and that children with the condition may well get better treatment or equipment at school, including transport to and from home. Yeah, Kemi wants to basically say they're getting better off, basically, but she can't outright say it because she'll be basically she's trying to imply that that these people with autism, she's going to try and make this case, allegedly, that some of them are making it up or whatnot. Don't be surprised if she tries to stir this pot. That's how nasty I think she is. It added that autism diagnosis in the workforce came with better employment protections against unfair dismissals and a requirement for workplace to make reasonable adjustments. Yes, they said it was positive. There was more openness around mental health, but the requirements for schools and workplaces to make adjustments for it had created costs and failed to improve people's mental health outcomes. Spokesperson for Badenoch told the Eye that it was wrong to infer any prejudge from the report, and that it was essential that we are able to talk about these issues without the media deliberately misleading their readers for the sake of easy headlines. Well, let's be very clear. You are the one who is bringing up these. You are the one who is bringing up these conversations. You are the ones who are bringing up the conversations about protecting women, when in fact all you want to do is harm trans people. Yeah, maybe the best thing to do is actually talk to experts about it instead of assuming that you know what's best for people. Like, why don't you actually speak to doctors, experts who know about this then better than you do? But obviously you don't. You just think you know what's best, don't you? If we are to resolve the problem of deteriorating mental health, we must be able to point out that it's happening and how society has changed its approach to it, and determine whether that approach is working. Badenoch, who is seen as a front-runner in the Tory leadership contest, has repeatedly been criticised for the controversial comments. During the conference, she faced backlash for suggesting that maternity pay in the UK, which is among the lowest in member countries of the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, was excessive. So you can see here that they're trying to kind of backtrack a little bit here to say, oh, it's wrong to prejudge and whatnot. We have to be very careful. But yeah, I don't. Honestly, I just think it's. I guess we kind of knew the way that the leadership was going, that it was coming down to Jenrick and Kemi. Honestly, I don't think it matters who wins, because I just think their policies are just so cruel and inhumane. Some people are saying that Robert Jenrick, when he gets the nod, if he gets the nod, that he's gonna maybe move back to the centre after he becomes leader. I don't think he will. I think considering the amount of money that he's taken in, I don't think he'll honestly do that, you know. Steve McMahon, good to see you there. Good morning. I hope you're doing well, buddy. But yeah, it's this is not this leadership contest, guys. It's just dragged on and on. Let's get their leader in. Let's get rid of Sunak. Let's Let's see Kemi or Robert try to outdo Keir Starmer. And you know what? I wouldn't be. Yeah. Do you know what would be the worst thing? If Kemi Badenoch actually outsmarts Keir Starmer at Prime Minister's questions as a leader, that would be incredibly embarrassing for Keir. I think Robert Jenrick it would be a lot smarter at PMQs than Kemi. But if Kemi gets the nod and she actually outsmarts Keir with questions and whatnot, that would be extremely embarrassing for Keir Starmer, if I'm honest. I'm just going to scroll up, see what you guys were saying in the chat earlier. Whenever you need me, I'm always available. So Daily Buzz. All right, thanks for that. I'll definitely let you know when. Most dangerous is Jenrick, in my opinion, because Badenoch will no hold into the place for too long, and Jenrick will be entrenched by the Tories in the hard right. And both are as bad as each. Both are disgusting gremlins, says David. Yep, that is true. Number 3 says, I don't give a toss about the Tory leadership. I will deal with the outcome. You will deal with the outcome. Autism has a lot of different degrees, says Jao. There are functioning autistic people that have their issues. I know some people like that. Yeah, I know family and friends who also go through that, who have that as well. Cian Banker says, my autistic nephew and niece are well worth every bit of support, whether medical, physical, or pounds, yeah, whatever. Yeah, they need to be looked after and cared for. But if I would say if there is something that they could do productive that can work, then it's worth looking into. But not if they can't. If they're completely incapable, then leave them alone. Is my message. Leave them alone. I kid you not, my nephew is like a young Sheldon. His brain's amazing. Yeah, that brain can, if it's his brain is as amazing, can turn into something that could be, because something that can generate a work. There could be a job in line there. You never know. What really concerns me is the sheer scale of ignorance and disillusion that's around. It's scary, says number 3. That's the problem. Too many people just jump on these bandwagons of things too much. It's dangerous. It is absolutely dangerous. Anyone can function in society with a little help, and has a society has a duty to do so. 100%. Well said, Jal. That's exactly how it is. If you want people to be productive in society, you've got to be willing to give them a helping hand in doing so. I couldn't agree more. A politician, when he or she speaks, should think first and then speak. Yeah, she didn't think at all about it. I can guarantee. I am 90% sure she did not speak to an expert about autism at any point about it. I'm pretty certain about that. So, yeah, it's really, really important that you speak to the experts when talking about these things, guys. Speaking of, well, they're not really experts. This one from Sky News, you guys. So, the ex-Google boss warns Sir Keir Starmer UK will fail to meet the 2013 clean energy goal without fixing regulation. The Prime Minister promised to rip up bureaucracy and encourage investment in the UK in all areas. So, I have just seen a video from Rob Spear on this. I need to see some from other people as well. But I don't like this at all. This is not the correct headline, guys. This is not about fixing regulation. This is about reducing regulation, reducing red tape, reducing barriers. This is going to be very, very bad for the UK. Now, why is this going to be bad for the UK? So, this all stems from basically us no longer being part of the European Union, not being a part of that market. By us being outside that market, our value has dwindled. We don't have the same. We're just not the investment, the incentive for businesses and entrepreneurs and whatnot to come and invest in the UK or England specifically. I say probably a bit more. I mean, there's incentives for people in Northern Ireland still because they still have access to the EU market there. But England, Wales, and Scotland specifically, they don't have that access. They've lost that access because they're no longer part of the European, because they're not part of the EU single market and customs union. So by not having that, these businesses and investors and whatnot, they can literally say to the government, "Oh, you want us to invest in your country, in your places? Well, you're going to have to make things easier for us. Deregulate. You can't be on the same level as the EU because you don't offer the same perks as being a part of the EU single market. You don't have them. So you need to give us more. You need to deregulate. You need to make things more easier for us." This has hamstrung the Labour government. The Labour government Keir Starmer knows, they are hamstrung. And they are so scared of upsetting anything around Brexit. And they are prepared to basically deregulate in order to attract investment. And that puts employees and people at risk here. That's the fear here. And already we know it's already happening within the NHS. But what's even worse is that there's going to be even more privatization, more of these American health companies investing into our national healthcare service because of this whole growth. We need investment, all this kind of malarkey. That's what this is all about. So this is how desperate this Labour government is. Rather than trying to do more, to bring closer ties to the EU, because I do think they're being too scared about this. This whole deregulation, this is not going to be good for employees. I am generally very concerned about people's rights in the UK, employees' rights as well. I'm very concerned about all this, and the ECHR is one thing that's helping keeping people. I think if we lose that, we will lose a lot of rights that we have had before. We will lose a hell of a lot of rights, and life will get much more difficult for us. I am very fearful of this, guys. Can I blame Keir Starmer for it? Yeah, because there are ways to increase investment. Well, how, Regan? You put your hand in your fucking pocket. That's what you do. You've got to put your hands in their pocket. And for me, this government are too scared to put their hands in their pockets. They're too scared to do it. All the talk of austerity is definitely not going away, that's for sure. And the budget will say a lot about this Labour government, that's for sure. So Google's former boss has warned Sir Keir Starmer he will fail to meet his 2030 clean energy goals unless he fixes UK regulation. What does he mean by that? Does he mean tax the wind and solar power just like oil and fossil fuels to balance things up? Is that what he's going to say? Eric Schmidt, Google's former chief executive officer, said he believes Sir Keir can speed up regulation bureaucracy to ensure that the government reaches its goal of decarbonising electricity by 2030. But he said regulation is currently killing you. Regulation is important. Let's be very clear about that. Speaking to Sir Keir at the International Investment Summit in London, Mr. Schmidt said, democracies, especially something as old as this one, have so many ways in which people can say no. I'd much rather, and I think the business community would much rather have a single person who can say yes or no, and then they can move on. The cost of capital and the delay is killing you, and furthermore, you're not going to achieve your 2030 energy goal, which is laudable, without fixing this. Giles says, correct, Reganelite, the UK has a reduced level of leverage over the big multinationals. Exactly. They're hamstrung. The British government are hamstrung. You have a tactical leadership problem to achieve this, and I think you can pull this off, but you have to figure out a way to get control. Sir Keir agreed that the speed at which decisions to get signed off is a really big challenge. He said it has to be a cross-government priority, not just within the Treasury team, it's got to be across government. So we're setting up some of the structures that will do this. But in the end, it is a mindset. It's a mindset that does this promote growth, or does this promote growth because being the most important question that we ask ourselves? I wish they would address the cost of living crisis. Ahead of this question and answers before Sir Keir and Mr. Smith, the Prime Minister promised to rip up bureaucracy and said it's time to upgrade the regulatory regime. He said the government will make sure that every regulator in the country takes growth as seriously as business. The government is expected to unveil details in AI, life science and infrastructure during Monday's summit, which has been attended by about 300 industry leaders worth an estimated 40 trillion in assets. Mr. Smith also urged Sir Keir to invest in data centres to help achieve clean power by 2030 by explaining how they go hand in hand despite data centres using massive amounts of energy. The former Google CEO called on Sir Keir to approve the necessary steps to have taken data centres in Britain. He said the electricity the data centres use allow us to build more material, which ultimately provides a solution to green energy efficiency problems. And with improved efficiency, there would be more capital for further green power investment. Moments after the pair appeared on stage, the technology secretary announced global tech firms have invested a further 6.3 billion into data centres in the UK, bringing the total investment into data centres to 25 billion since July. US firms Sidus One, ServiceNow, Cloud UK and CoreWeaver will all base their data infrastructure in the UK. Well, I say that's a good sign. That could create jobs, which is could create some jobs, which is nice. 6.3 billion pounds of investment. I mean, it sounds good, but for me, it screams there's money there. For me, it screams that the government has money, and they're choosing, and it's a political choice of where they're putting that money is. If it plays back in the end, then great. But I am very concerned about the regulation that they may reduce here in the UK because of the situation that we're in. Do we even need growth? Just move the money around, says number 3. Yeah, we do kind of need growth. If you look at GDP, it's really bad. We do need the growth. I will agree that the government does need to do something about growth. That is a major issue. That is for sure. I heard an expression in the talk show that said the UK is like a lonely gazelle in the middle of savannah. That's definitely how it. Yeah, we definitely felt like that's definitely a great analogy of putting it, because we used to be a part of a herd with the EU, but now we're not. What are the 2030 energy goals? The world may have gone past the 2.5 or even 3 degrees point, I believe. Austerity is and has always been a political choice for Stephen Banker. 100%. 100%. That is 100% true. Well, obviously, like I don't know if there's any more to come out of it apart from that, but obviously we'll see. I'm sure there'll be something from the budget about more technology and whatnot will come. We'll wait and see, you guys. Do I want to cover this one? I'm just curious of time. Yeah, I will go for this one. So this one is from the BBC, you guys. So, children face a lifetime cost of council crisis. The well-being of children and young people is at risk of cuts to local services, the Children's Commissioner has warned. Yeah, the fears of cuts are, councils are struggling. I mean, I've said this before on holiday. We know that councils are struggling. It's not rocket science to know this. And yeah, like Stephen Banker said, it's a political choice. They can put their hand in their pocket and help these councils out, and they should be putting their hands in their pocket to help these councils out, especially the ones that are struggling. And I understand this argument or point that some people will make in that is that they're fearful that money will get wasted. Well, there's already been a lot of money wasted. I understand that you want to be more careful with money. I totally understand that. I really do. I totally understand that, and I've just ruined my hair in doing so as well. I understand that. But these councils need to have the money that they need to be able to do the things that they need to do. And they're not getting that help. They've been getting cut and cut and cut and cut and cut. And we're talking about kids here. Talking about children who are the next generation who are at risk here. And this is incredibly concerning. So analysis by the BBC show local authorities are making £3 billion worth in investment this financial year, but still face a funding shortfall of more than £5.7 billion by 2026-2027. Local government experts have said councils have carried out all the easy cuts years ago and are now struggling to protect vital children and adult social care services. The Children's Commissioner, Dame Rashkel Dasawa, said children must not pay the price for balancing budgets. Yeah. Children must be protected from these. They must be protected. Local government minister Jim McMahon said the new government had inherited a crisis that there was no shying away from the scale of. Yes, but you do not put children's futures at risk to deal with your balancing the budget. You do not put children at risk here. The BBC shared a data unit surveyed 187 upper tier authorities in the UK which provide services to adult social care, to bin collections and pothole repairs. As well as having a growing black hole in their finances, councils were forced to dip into their reserves this year, drawing more than $1 billion in an effort to balance the books. And 19 of them have called for financial support from the government, an unprecedented number according to the local government association, the LGAs. An investigation has found that cuts to social workers and safeguarding teams, along with reductions in spending on teams helping young people at risk of sexual exploitation. So those who are at risk of sexual exploitation will be more vulnerable as a result. A significant number of reviews and cuts concerning transport for disabled children and adults, which means that those people can't get to where they need to go to. Reduction spent on legal service, including on counsel for children's social care cases. So where's the needs for the children? Cuts to numerous projects supporting young people, reductions in playground maintenance, and pauses in apprenticeship recruitment. The playgrounds are no longer safe where kids are supposed to go and play. Widespread cuts to education spent affecting teachers, staff and classroom budgets, as well as music lessons. Lack of education means that our children have less choices, which means an even harder challenge for them to develop in the future. And removal of period poverty programs. This is disgusting. Taking away poverty programs. Dame Rachel said many of the savings proposed would disproportionately impact children who rely on the state for protection and a stable home environment. This is where someone in politics will say, let the private sector do it. Oh yeah, let the private sector deal with people with these children's things. Right. Who's going to pay for it? Echoing our comments, the chief executive of the children's charity Barnow's Lynn Perry said threatening services like family centres and youth projects play a vital role in ensuring challenges were addressed before they could escalate. She said while scaling back children's services might seem like a way to balance budgets, ultimately has a lifetime cost for generations of children. Exactly. Child is only a child once, and when they grow up, the scars are permanent, whatever happens to them in their childhood. Goodbye society. Yes, well said, number 3. Peter Evans from Cameronshire has been a head teacher for 22 years and said the situation facing schools was worse than it's ever been. He said cuts to changes to non-statutory early intervention services were having a significant impact, with his schools having to spend more on nappies, wipes, and changing tables. We're in a perfect storm with our money going down and need going up. With more children coming in non-verbal and non-toilet trained and access to services like speaking and language, educational psychologists and occupational therapy under threat, Mr. Evans said. This is the spiraling effect of what happens when you are not investing in the future for children, when you're not investing in them. All these things add up. See, right here, this is a prime example of it. Yeah? A school having to spend more on nappies, wipes and changing tables for children because these kids who should have been taught it earlier in their lives are not getting taught it because the daycares that some of these children have been in, our state or some of them have not been in it, not getting the training that they need when it comes to potty training and learning to use the toilets. That's just one of many examples. Things like speech disability. I know people who are struggling. I know one or two relatives who have children that have speaking disabilities. They're not getting the everything that they need. That means that affects them later on in life. Especially that's going to affect them in the classroom. It's going to affect their abilities to be able to find a job for them as well. All these things add up. And so it goes from that childcare who doesn't have the funding and investment to what they normally do to help that child, give them the best possible, brightest future. It deters them in childcare Then they go into the schools, which means becomes a burden for the schools, which means now the schools have to invest more into the child to try and help them, but then they don't have enough money, so then they struggle, and that means that the children struggle in their school period as well. And it just goes on and on as they grow older in life. It means that our society gets worse off because our generation of children are worse off as a result because of these things being taken away. It's a ripple effect. It's essentially what it is, guys. Councils are in a difficult position, but children only get one chance, and children are the future. Paul Whiteman, General Secretary of School Leaders Unions, NAHT, said the BBC's findings lay bare the tough reality many schools and families are facing as a result of council-funded education budgets being slashed. He warned the situation could eventually undermine the education system's ability to support children. Campaigners say the budgetary crisis in local government is also limiting the lives of millions of disabled people. Mikey Etchwar from Disability Rights UK said many were being plunged into hardship, isolation, distress and deepening poverty as a result. He said the situation was also affecting life chances of disabled children who face a consistent battle for support. Yeah, we're not even talking about and the children with disabilities. Some of those children with disabilities could actually end up being contributing to society in some way, shape or form if they're given the support and help that they need at an early stage. And because they're not going to get that support as much as they should, it means that they become more, rather than they could potentially be somebody in society that can actually do something or contribute in some capacity to society, they end up becoming nothing but a burden at the taxpayer's expense. There are some cases where there are some who just cannot who just need that life support for the rest of their lives. It's totally understandable. But there are some cases where some of them could be taught things at a young age that could end up being useful for them later in life, despite their disabilities. They could end up like something like sitting on a computer, perhaps. And they could generate, do a job by just sitting on a computer, for example. So, but those are going to be set back from them. For me, this is all about the government taking less ownership and responsibility and trying to push it on other people, relying on charities, relying on volunteers, relying on the private sector, trying to do less and expect everyone else to pick up more. And it's not right. The whole point of a government is to look after its people. And the last 14 years of Conservative rule, they have abandoned people. And Labour, if they abandon people, they will not get the people's votes at the next general election. Never mind local and by-elections. People will feel the pinch. People have been feeling the pinch and they want to see something different. The underfunding of social care in particular goes far beyond the numbers of a Whitehall spreadsheet and goes to the very core of how we value the lives of disabled civilians, he said. Many of us, young and old, are going without care and support we need. He added that when care and support was provided, it was often just the basics rather than the support we need for a full life a full life and engage with others. Former teacher assistant Vicky Bride has seen the impact of classroom budget cuts and reduced council services as both a professional and a parent. I've seen children with education and healthcare plans who are supposed to receive one-on-one support have their teacher assistant drag away to help with the rest of the class, she said. These children want to work and do well, but they're in an environment that isn't supporting them. I can tell you guys, as somebody who suffered from EBD, that's emotional behavior difficulty, when I was younger, if I did not have the one-to-one support, I'd probably be in a lot worse. I probably would not have been. What's the right word? I probably would not been as done as well in my work life in retail than I would have done. One-to-one support is really, really important because then you have that engagement with that child, and it's really, that really can make a massive difference to children. It really does make a massive difference. Taking that away from children, that's really, really damaging for them, regardless of whatever their situation is. All children need to have that one-to-one. It's really important. Ms. Bryce said that she had seen the pupils in their final years of secondary school who could barely read and write and had to fight tooth and nail to get support from their own child. Barely read and write. In final years of secondary school. I struggled in primary school to write. They were trying to make me write right-handed, and I just refused, and I kept writing with my left hand. But we're talking about secondary school. She said her daughter struggled to cope with her mainstream school, had suffered as a result of significant delays to support from social workers and other local authority services. I know what most people will say. Well, most people just use their mobile phones this day. That's not the point. Reading and writing is still very important. There's no safety net now, and it's an absolute nightmare, she said. I've had to give up my job and become a full-time carer for my daughter, and I've even had to call crisis service for myself because I became suicidal after not being able to get help for her. The BBC analysis also uncovered examples of councils approving the removal of flagpoles, cutting long service awards for staff, removing coastal lifeguards, ending asbestos collection from households, and introducing dynamic theatre pricing so tickets cost more as demand rises. This is desperation. Dr. Jonathan Carr West, Chief Executive of the Local Government Information Unit, the LGIU, said it provided approved local authorities were scrapping about and putting forward almost comical proposals in a desperate attempt to safeguard vital services. LGA Chairwoman Louise Grittens warned of the risk of financial failure across local government was becoming systematic. She joined the LGIU in calling on the new Labour government to provide councils with financial stability and funding reform, including the introduction of a multi-year funding settlement. Councils are funded through a mix of council tax, business rates, income from service like parking and social housing rent, as well as money from the government, known as Revenue Support Grant. That funding declined by nearly a third between 2010 and 2021, according to the Public Accounts Committee, which found council income was £8.4 billion lower in real terms than the decade before. £8.4 billion. My God, that is so bad. McMahon said these deep-rooted problems could not be fixed overnight, adding the government was committed to reforming and rebuilding the sector. The minister said we will work hand-to-hand with councils by moving towards multi-year funding settlements to provide long-term stability, ending comprehensive bidding processes, ensuring the sector gets back on its feet. Well, I hope so. But the problem is, like everything, guys, it all takes time. And time is not on the children's hands right now. I think many of us are already inclined to agree that a lost generation of kids is gone. Or are fearful that a generation of kids will be gone that will not be successful in life because they were not given the support and the help, the education that they deserved as a result of the Conservatives' 14 years of austerity. I think that's pretty fair to say. I feel like a part of me feels that they want the next generation of British or English people specifically to be dumber, so they can be more easily manipulated. That's a part of how I feel about it. I'm not sure about you guys, but it's part of how I feel about the way this is all going. It's absolutely horrible. Excuse me. People who are in total vegetative states could work. They could run Ofcom. It says Steve McMahon. Even my grammar school didn't provide counselling services until number 3. It was a special school that I was at. I can absolutely guarantee you it's not going to be there now. It was a special school that helped children, boys school. It was a special boys school that I was at my last time in school that helped boys specifically who could not control their emotions. It was very specific around that, and the classrooms were very small as well. It was only up to like 12. There was only up to like the maximum of 12 kids in that school as well. So it wasn't like normal pupils where it's like 20, 30. Very small classrooms, and you always had an assisted teacher there as well for them as well. So you always had, so there was always that as well. I met a guy who was barely able to read, age 35, didn't like his teacher. The school, by the way, was a state school. It wasn't like private school or anything like that, just to be clear, guys. We'll make that very clear. Most education systems are one-size-fits-all models that don't take into account all kids and are different and learn differently. So Stephen Moore, yeah, all are different, yeah. I'm very suspicious of big tech firms promising magic money. Yeah, I'm very suspicious as well. £22 billion for failed carbon capture so they can still use gas and oil, says Sir Keir. Yeah, I was very angry. Yeah, I remember. I remember talking about that video a few weeks ago. Yeah, I was just like, it's just a means to keep going with oil, and just a means to keep going with it, pretty much. Treasury funding of county councils dropped from 1/2 to 1/3 over 10 years. I can't recall where the figures are from, says number 3. Thanks for your comments, guys. Appreciate it. Let's take a little break. I think we might be going a bit longer than planned, but that's all right. I hope you guys enjoy this funny video. Some of you guys may have heard this one already. I have not. I just realised a second, I have not put my headphones in, so you're going to have to give me a moment for me to get my headphones in, because I have not heard these. Some of these funny videos, because I've been on holiday, like I said. I'll put my headphones in. Before I do it, the gang is here, by the way. They have been here. I actually took everything down before I went on holiday, like the green screen, and all these guys were all put away nice and neat. And now they're all back in fine form. Ollie the octopus, Pingu the penguin, and Cash Dummy the cookie monster. They're hiding behind them there. So if you are a member, you can get custom emojis of them as well. But anyways, let's break away from all this negativity, because we need some have a bit of fun here. This is from Larry and Paul, guys. The Conservative leadership contest chaos. Let's see what their analysis of this is.
Welcome to Broken News. The Conservatives say they're determined to stick with recent tradition by choosing the most swivel-headed, batshit leader they can find. It's as the leadership contest moves into its final stages, and our reporter has more.
For decades, the Conservatives were known as the party of steadfast convention, fiscal responsibility and soggy biscuit. But recent times have seen them descend into hilariously knee-jerk nut-jobbery, morphing into a frothing orgy of mad old rats in a sack, pandering to ruddy-faced fascist sympathisers and then turning against and eating each other until the fattest, thickest and loudest eventually won. Before all this, there was, of course, hope. The party once contained quality leadership material, quietly competent politicians that at least appeared to be slightly progressive. People like Anna Soubry, Kenneth Clarke, or Gen Z podcast hottie Rory Stewart. Some political pundits said that this leadership contest was a chance for a moderate new leader to rescue the Tories from their own cack-filled bin fire. But those hopes have faded faster than Jonathan Gullis's post-parliamentary pedagogical prospects. Meanwhile, the final 2 power sluts in the barrel-bottom scraping race have been making the most of the precious few hours they aren't squawking out of the front of their stupid heads on GB News, by conjuring up the most certifiably mental ideas they can squirt out of their gobholes. From Robert Jenrick saying that police should immediately arrest anyone who even mutters Allahu Akbar, to Kemi Badenoch claiming that maternity pay had gone too far. The pair have proved themselves more than capable of continuing the Tories' descent into total irrelevancy. Yes, the battle lines have been drawn. Jenrick wants to cancel human rights. Badenoch says she'll win the votes of the working classes because she once sold a sweaty burger. It'll now be put to a vote of Conservative members who, despite being older than Big Ben's ballsack, are definitely totally in touch with what the country wants. Back to you.
What a lovely story. That's all from Broken News. You're up to date.
I've not. I didn't see that one, guys. I didn't see that one. That was really. Oh, that was really good. We needed that. What an absolute lovely story from Larry and Paul there. Broken news, the most reliable news that you can find anywhere on the planet. Make sure you subscribe to Larry and Paul, guys. Do check them out. They are very, very good. Also, if you have Twitter or X or Threads or whatever, do follow them on those platforms as well, because sometimes they do collaborations with other funny YouTubers as well. I do recommend, guys. Just before I go to the next article, guys, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Shares across social media so others are notified of this live stream. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. I am just over what on my subscriber count? What is my subscriber count? I'm still I'm still well off from the, well, I'd like to get to 2,000 by the end of this year if possible, guys. I'm around about 1,000. I think about 1,000, 1,700. I think it's like over 200 subscribers. So if you're not a membership, if you're not a subscriber, you find the content informative, helpful, useful to you, why not subscribe? It doesn't cost you anything. Please hit that subscribe button. It really will make a massive difference. And thank you to everyone who has done so. It is greatly appreciated. And of course, as some of my generous colleagues have already here in the live chat on YouTube, if you want to financially support me in the work that I do, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for just as little as 99p. You get access to custom emojis, membership community tabs, as well as early access to additional content as well. So thank you guys for that. I really appreciate it. And just finally, before I carry on as well, I will catch up with all the comments on my videos. I know I haven't responded to them, guys. I will catch up on them. I just haven't had a chance to do it today. I will go through all of it in the next week or so. So do bear with me, guys. Anyways, enough of that. Let's move on. So this one from the Times, you may have seen this story batter around a little bit. So Tory MPs are considering resigning over Labour's second job crackdown. So senior party sources have said they expected a drip of resignations to begin after the Conservative Party leadership contest. So why, guys? Why would they run away from what Labour are planning to do? Obviously, a lot of Conservative, especially the new ones, a lot of the Conservative MPs obviously thought, some of them who decided to run as MPs, maybe some of them have thought, oh, I can make myself some really good money as a second job and whatnot. And now some of them who probably already got second jobs and whatnot probably can't handle the fact that Labour are perhaps maybe to make potential changes that would actually benefit. Now, personally, I've said this before, I think, the second jobs should be banned completely outright. I think it should be completely banned outright. None whatsoever. I think all gifts and donations should be banned completely outright as well, because they are conflicts of interest. Full stop. I don't care what political party you're from. They should be banned outright. If you're going to be a politician, if you're going to be an MP, your job is to serve your constituents. Yes, you are aligned to a political party and its associations, of course, but you're a politician. That is your job. That is your role. That is what the whole point of it. You don't go in. The point of, if you're going in just to make money, then you have no business being an MP. If you want to go and make money, go do it somewhere else. We don't want you representing a constituency that you have little to no care about. I'm still waiting for Nigel Farage to make life better for the people of Clacton. Has anybody's seen him make people's lives better down there? Answers on the postcard, please. But as Phil Morehouse said in his video about this, obviously this could trigger a bunch of by-elections as well, which could favour reform potentially. Apparently, according to him, I don't know if it will. I don't know if the second job crackdown would. I'm not sure about that, but I have to wait and see on that one. I think it would favour Lib Dems and Greens more than anybody. Up to a dozen Conservative MPs are considering standing down before the next election because of Labour's imminent clampdown on second jobs. So senior party sources told the Times that they expect a drip of resignations to begin after the Tory leadership contest starting into the new year. Those who served in Rishi Sunak's government who were passed for over senior shadow cabinet roles are the most likely to quit. One former cabinet minister had told colleagues that they are growing tired of the job and thinking about how much more they can make on the outside. The MP spouse had privately said in the same to others, the sources said. Another who has been offered a job in the United States has been told allies that they are considering their position if they are not given a senior role under the next Conservative leader. A third former cabinet minister said they were considering my next move outside Parliament, having decided not to continue playing a frontline role. Concerns have also been raised about the growing scrutiny after criticism of Labour's ministers for taking hospitality. Gifts received in ministerial capacity can be declared with less information, such as an estimated value, and are published by departments with significant time lag. Backbench MPs, in contrast, must declare gifts monthly in Register of Interest. Labour has pledged to reform the system so that all MPs are subject to the same rules. Going into opposition mean that some Conservative MPs are thinking twice about accepting what could be considered perks of the job, one said. Doubts about their chances of getting back into power also fueling adulation, the Times have been told. Several said that they felt obliged to stand at the last election out of loyalty to Sunak, but now fear the party could struggle to make headway. I find it hard to believe the Conservatives will be back in power. We need an absolute majority and there's no coalition that works for us, one party insider said. Senior Conservative sources said that about a dozen MPs were considering standing down before the next election, about 10% of the parliamentary party. No one will want to step down too quickly after the general election or immediately cause a headache for the next Tory leader. But I expect a drip of resignations to start sometime in the new year, one said. So it'll be interesting as if one or two of them do start dripping out. That's for sure. Some of those weighing up resigning are hoping to make it onto Sunak's resignation on a list, enabling them to remain in Parliament as members in the House of Lords. Please, Rishi, I've been a very good person. I've been very nice to you. I've been very defensive and protective of you. Surely you would put me on your honours list, would you, please? The new rules designed to crack down on MPs' second jobs were passed by the Commons in July and come into force this month. Labour decided against a total ban on outside earnings, but closed a loophole so that MPs are no longer allowed to advise business on public policy or how Parliament works in general. Further crackdowns have been threatened. A cross-party group known as the Modernisation Committee, chaired by Lucy Powell, the leader of the Commons, will consider whether to bar MPs from presenting news or current affairs shows on television. MPs have been paid more than £250,000 for broadcast work over the past 18 months. Analysts by the Times has found the committee will look at greater limits on speeches, another lucrative source of income. Oh dear, what a shame. The pain, guys, the pain of the Conservatives not going to be able to get these second jobs. How terrible. How terrible. I don't think Labour will go far enough on this, but what I will say is that it's a step in the right direction, is what I will say. It's a step in the right direction. Could they be doing more on this? Yes, they should definitely be doing more on this. They should ban it outright. But make it more difficult for Conservatives, especially the cronyism. I think that definitely will help. Jonathan Gullis hasn't got a first job. Oh dear. I heard they need fruit pickers. Then the farmers need some fruit pickers. Has anyone told him about that? I hope he's not claiming any benefits. I'd be very surprised if he'd been claiming any benefits, guys. How many more stories I'm going to cover? Okay, I'm going to skip this. I'm going to skip the story exclusive from the Eye, guys. Are we going to do that one? Just because I don't really want to do all night, just because I've got some other stories to cover. Okay, well, considering how long we've been going, guys, I'm going to do one more story for you guys. And we'll do this one from Barline Times, and I think it's actually probably makes sense considering I say we have to judge the Labour government in their first 100 days in power. That's what I said. Not gonna BS you guys. I said that before. Wayne Pagan, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. Let me just have a quick look in the chat, see what you guys are saying. Small violin, someone's playing. I can hear the small violin now. There may be a genuine issue. Being out of work for 5 years could make like Alford later on. Not that I like Jonathan Gullis, but he used to have a proper job. Yeah, I do agree. I do agree. When you're out for a job for a long time, it can be hard to get back in. Fromage has been protecting the good people of Clacton by roaming the streets at night dressed in black latex and beating up criminals. Oop, that is either Batman or Nigel leaving a private party. Farage has forgotten he's an MP. Has he turned up yet? Apparently, I don't know. I've been under the hoodwink for a while, haven't I? The only MPs that should have a second job are medical staff. I kind of have to slightly disagree with you on that, Mad Monk. Just because I think that they should be giving their time for that job, or giving their time to serve their constituents. I don't think, like, I can understand some people will say I can do both, and that's totally cool. But I don't think if for me it should be a case of either you serve as an MP for your constituents, and that is your main job, or you don't. That's my. I can understand why some people will disagree with that. Nigel Farage says about third, fourth, and fifth jobs. Oh, he has loads of jobs, to be fair. He's got loads of jobs that we don't know about, I'm sure. That is for sure. Genie Bottle, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. So let's before we read into this one from last one from Pylon Times. Sir Keir Starmer's first 100 days in power, a report card. So I'll just point out, I did these other two stories that I was going to cover. I'm going to leave them for now. Brexit wine tax sparks call for consumers to pressure MPs. This is exclusive from The Independent. If you want to have a look at that, guys, it'll be in the description if you want to have a look at that one. I did want to talk about it, but don't really want to go an all-nighter if I can help it. The other one I had here is Ginflation is pricing women out of pubs due to rising taxes. Don't know enough about that one, to be fair, guys. So, but if you want to read those stories, I'll leave them in the links in the description if you want to check them out. But Keir Starmer's first 100 days in power to a report card. The Prime Minister has reached a milestone as his popularity plummets in the aftermath of a freebie scandal and Sue Gray's resignation. But has it been all that bad? So, let's have a genuine discussion, guys. Has everything that Labour have done in the first 100 days been terrible? I would say there has been some bad things, yes. The continuation of the two-child benefit cap, I think, was really bad. I'm still hopeful that they may change, that they may remove it at the budget. That was not a very good look for them. The decision, oh god, what was the other one? The winter fuel payments. That's it, of course. The decision to cut winter fuel payments to means test it. I think that was a really bad decision by Labour. Completely and totally unnecessary. This was something that was not in. This was something that was not in their manifesto, and they've consistently tried to argue that they need to balance the books doing so. This is 100% bollocks, because there are plenty of other ways that they can raise the money to do so, and not at the expense of pensioners, especially at a time where you are in the fucking winter. Just want to point that out. If you haven't noticed, when you start this live stream, I'm literally wearing a woolly hat because I was bloody cold. So that wasn't a very good start for them. So understandably so. Apologies to the Twitch chat. I'm gonna try and get you guys up. Sorry guys, I do apologize to viewers. I just need to adjust because, as you guys know, I have two chats up because I want to make sure my. I know majority of you guys are from YouTube, but I still do get the odd people from Twitch, and just want to make sure that their views are read whenever they come through as well. Even if Empty Handskepper offers cheap views on steeboo.com, remove this space. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to buy cheap views, but thank you for the message regardless. Sue Gray's resignation, that whole kerfuffle was not a very good image as well. The freebie scandal, absolutely embarrassing. Did not, it really kind of just... It does feel like it's insulted the British public's intelligence when they say they're going to fix things and whatnot. when they say they're going to be honesty, integrity, and whatnot, and then they start, and then these freebies all come out. It's very hypocritical of them. That being said, obviously, I will say that one of the bigger positives I would say is obviously bringing in the renters control. Oh God, what's the no faults eviction? Bringing back more powers to renters. I do think it's being watered down because landlords are pressuring Labour, but it is a good step because renters desperately need it. That's a good positive. The nationalisation of the railways is another big positive. Very happy about that. I think it'll be very, very good for us once it comes to fruition. Obviously, it will take time, but that's another positive I'm really pleased about. They're going to I believe they were strengthening Ofwat as well. The plans to in strengthening force Ofwat. Those are some good things as well, but they're still not been put in. But there are some positives from this. There are some positives from this Labour government, but we obviously hear more negatives than positives about governments, which is completely understandable there as well. Well, you just have a quick read what you guys are saying in the chat. Mad Monk says, that's a good thing about individual thinking, that we can make a comment. And if someone disagrees, that's good. It makes for good conversation. Yeah. I am tired of Google, says Jao. You should Google that and see what comes up. It will create extremes in the future, left or far right, says Genie Bottle. Alistair Keir says the spare change found in sofa is 300 million that would cover the 2-child and winter fuel cut Reganelite. Oh yes, of course, down the back of the sofa. My apologies, I keep forgetting about that. And number 3 said, I've sent a very strong email to my Labour MP and made a short video about the CCS nonsense. She didn't accept my argument and quoted a different kind of science to mine. The government isn't great. Well, I will say at least you got a response, because some MPs probably don't respond. So at least they did respond. So let's read what this argument and reportage that Byline Times had about the first 100 days, guys. So in less than 100 days in office, the shine of Keir Starmer's landslide election victory has well and truly worn off. Recent polls have Labour just 1 point ahead of the Conservatives, who just 3 months ago suffered the worst defeat in parliamentary history. And on a more personal note, Starmer's approval rating, according to a think tank More in Common, has plummeted 45 points since July the 5th, with the PM now 1 point below Rishi Sunak. Starmer, who passed the milestone on Saturday, having lost his chief of staff almost a week prior, vowed on entering office, ending an era of Conservative corruption and kickbacks and restoring public trust, pledges long since overshadowed by his £100,000 football tickets and other freebie scandals. Yeah, that didn't look good, did it? But, weighed against the predecessors in power, Starmer's rocky start is barely a stumble. Liz Truss lasted just 45 days, and her mini-budget sent global markets into meltdown. This is true. Boris Johnson did a damage of a different sort, telling a stringent lies along the way, and Rishi got little right. Nevertheless, Tim Bale, Professor of Politics at Queen Mary University of London, told Al Jazeera, it's easily the worst start to a government's time in office in living memory. And it wasn't as if Labour were popular anyway. Yes, that's true. Let's be very clear about this. People did not vote Labour because they wanted a Labour government. People voted Labour because they were so tired of 14 years of Conservatives. That's the general truth. That's why people voted. That's why people voted for them. That's why people in Scotland voted for them, even though they shouldn't have done. They didn't need to. That's why people in Wales voted for Labour, even though they shouldn't have done as well. They should have voted Plaid Cymru, and people in Scotland really should have pushed more for the SNP, thinking that they really... But at the end of the day, it's people's choice. But you got rid of the Conservatives. We've got rid of them. But for how long? Ruth, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Don't worry. Better late than never is the right way to say it. The assessment aside, Starmer does appear on track to deliver on at least some of his many promises to rebuild Britain and re-energise the economy. The only question left is how is he going to pay for it without returning to austerity? Chancellor Rachel Reeves will answer that with her budget on the 30th of October. To mark the first 100 days, we asked a number of charities and think tanks to give us their report card on summer. So here's what they had to say. Okay, so the first one is from Dr. Doug Parr of Greenpeace. Ultimately, Labour needs to invest at scale for national renewal. On climate and nature, the Labour government faced a very easy task and a very tough one. To do better than its predecessors and to do well enough to tackle the sheer scale of the problem. After 100 days, the first target has been smashed, but the second one is still some way off. The new government stormed out of the starting blocks with a raft of strong announcements on climate and energy. Within days, they had lifted David Cameron's absurd ban on new onshore wind, tabled the bill set to publicly own Great British Energy, increased funding for renewable energy auctions, and unblocked solar projects stuck in Nicky limbo. Those are very good things. They are very good things. There have been less spirit to act on a nature crisis through the introduction of new bills to crack down on water companies and clean up waters is a welcome move. It is. I still think putting it back into public ownership is the best solution. But I also understand there's a big depth. Yeah, there's a big bills and big debts over those water companies as well. Quest4477 on Twitch says Tories should have been re-elected. Have you been living under a rock for the last 14 years, Quest? I don't know what it would imply you to say such a silly thing, if I'm honest. Like, I can understand people have problems about Labour, but, you know, the last 14 years have been absolute nightmare for the UK. So we have seen a clean break with the past, but is it enough to build a bridge to a better future? Not quite. There have been a few slip-ups along the way, deciding to invest a whopping £22 billion in unproven carbon capture technology, especially after warnings from scientists were false pass, as a continued obsession with building ever costlier and permanent delayed nuclear reactors. Yeah, I've said this in the video, guys, for those who've watched it, but I'll just say it here, guys. It's a complete waste of money, complete waste of time. Just stop, reduce oil and gas. Reduce it. Don't invest, reducing it. Reduce it. And start investing in wind and solar. And if you've got to go with nuclear, I'm not in favour of nuclear. But you know what? I'd rather they would invest in nuclear projects than goddamn oil and gas. I really would. Yeah, I know it's a risk, but hey, it's better than emitting more carbon emissions in the air or trying to store it underground and hopefully it doesn't come out. You're not fixing the problem, as I said in the video. You're moving the problem. That level of investment would have been better developed to support making the homes of the winter fuel warmer, fuel poor. Losing my words today. I'm going to start that again. That level of investment would have been better developed to support making the homes of the fuel-poor warmer and help workers and communities dependent on high-carbon industries, including the steelworkers at Port Talbot. The Port Talbot Steelworks should be nationalised. It's stupid that we are giving money to that company. I'm sick of it. Put it back in the state's hands. Yeah, just get rid of this company. They don't care. I'm sick of taxpayer money going towards this company. Like, I want to protect British steel. Yeah. These private companies don't give a shit about British steel. They only care about profit. Just bring it back in the state's hands. This is one of the few things that we actually have in Wales. You know, that they're very proud of their steel industry. Like, let's not take that away from them, please. On the global stage, the government's attempts to regain the initiative has already shown some promising signs, such as the UK joining a group of countries pushing for a strong global plastic treaty. There's also been a surprising interior on something such as straightforward as ratifying the Global Ocean Treaty. Big conversation win. Yep, these are good stuff. Definitely good stuff. Ultimately, Labour needs to invest at scale for a national renewal, as leading economics have already argued. Serious levels of government spending will be needed to build vital infrastructure, fixing tolerable public service and helping key industries transition to net zero. The autumn statement offers the Chancellor the perfect opportunity to start funding this national renewal programme, and instead of repeating the mistakes of cutting winter fuel payments to pensioners. She should focus on taxing the super rich and using the money to pay for climate solutions that would benefit millions of people, like cheaper public transport and warmer homes. 100%. This is the problem. Tax the rich. There are ways that specifically the super rich. This is what the Green Party have been saying as well, specifically the super rich. They can afford it. We know that they can afford it. They know that they can afford it. And they're choosing not to. So like I said, there has been some good things. But yeah, there's been some, but we see more negative than positive, unfortunately. So Danny, I can't say that surname, so apologies. Chief Executive of the New Economics Foundation. This is obviously a think tank, so I'm going to take it with a pinch of salt. The worrying signs from the first 100 days is that the government has doubled down on its pre-election promises not to raise key taxes. One of the frustration things about Labour's first 100 days when it comes to the economy is the timing of the budget. Holding it in late October means that the new government has now spent months in power without showing its hand on big economic matters like taxes, investment, or indeed very physical rules that shape both. The promising news that the government recognises that something must be done to fix crumbling public services, reduce poverty and invest in green transition. Indeed, Rachel Reeves talks about the need to invest no fewer than 27 times in a speech or at the Labour Party conference, from homegrown energy to our schools and hospitals, our police and all in our public service. Yes. Investment. Yes. But like everything, where is the money going to come from? Well, if they can find magic money tree, if they can find 300 billion or whatever out of the back of the couch, they can have the money for these things. It's just a question of, are they going to put their money in their pockets? But investment needs expenditure, which in turn needs revenue or borrowing. The worrying signal from the first 100 days is that the government has doubled down on its pre-election promises not to raise key taxes. And while the rumoured changes to physical rules are welcome, the Chancellor could still go further to free up public borrowing and therefore spending. Now, whether Reeves can square this circle will have a profound impact on the economic strategy of this government over its entire team, and indeed shape whether it wins the right to a second term. In the short term, the Chancellor is likely to tweak the basis on which the government debt is measured, and I hope introducing measures such as the Green Golden Rule, which will allow it to borrow specifically for environmentally sustainable projects. But the real answer lies in ditching these rigorous, outdated rules with a more flexible, accountable, and forward-looking framework. Politically, the new government may have a bumpy first 100 days, but it will be day 118, budget day, that will shape the economy road ahead. Yeah. Like I said, everything kind of falls on the budget. And I absolutely 100% agree that us having to wait to the end of October to finally have a goddamn budget to know exactly what they're doing has been generally frustrating, because there has been a lot of things where there's like, what are they doing? What is the full plan? What are they, because if you ask the average person on the street what Labour's plans are, they probably don't really know. It's a lot of rhetoric talk. We want to see detail. People want details. We don't want to be shadowed in shroud and mystery. People want a bit more clearer. Want to be more clearer about what their plans are. And it's very frustrating for a lot of people. Harry Gold from Compass. A successful approach on devolution can't just be about small nudges in the right direction. However positive may be, and they need to come alongside a root and branch overhaul of our entire political culture. So on his fifth day as Prime Minister, Keir Starmer met with England's regional mayors at 10 Downing Street, as reports claimed he was looking to kickstart a new era of devolution. I'm going to say this out right. I was very pleased that, unlike a lot of Conservative Prime Ministers that we've had, and this is something you got to give him credit for, whether anything came of this, the fact that he went out of his way, he met First Minister of Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and he's met with England's regional mayors all at once as well. I thought this was very, very good. This is very, very good, and because obviously it gives them that engagement that they need to have. Now, obviously, how often they have these engagements is obviously questionable. I totally understand that, and we know the Prime Minister can be very busy, but doing that right on the fifth day, having these meetings, I thought with the regional mayors, I thought it was a very big positive, especially with the crisis that they are going through. And like it says here, this was a positive symbolic gesture, an important one. Much of the government's agenda, whether on planning reform, GB energy, or housing, will depend on a productive relationship between central government and devolved regions. And this is exactly the point. Now, obviously, having a meeting is one thing, Whether it actually becomes something that they continue to do in the future is another, And like he said on his very first speech, guys, actions, not words. But yeah, let's have some engineers in government, for God's sake, says number 3. Yeah, we need some engineers to kickstart the engine of the economy. So the big picture vision for devolution has been a little unclear so far, but the rhetoric has been good. Starmer has spoken about handling more power to those with skin in the game and more importance of politics that does things for people, not to them. But as the PM himself says, governments ultimately will be judged on deeds, not words. Yeah. So there's another thing as well. You have someone like Sir Patrick Balance, I believe it is, who was given a position, who was made a Lord. I'm pretty sure it was Patrick Balance. As a science minister, and there's one or two others who are completely unaffiliated with who apparently are unaffiliated with government as well. They are positives because if you put an expert in a position that knows about these things, what's the name of the prisons minister, guys? Can you give me the name of him? I believe it's supposed to be somebody with real expertise as well. It's supposed to be someone that can really shake up the prison system. I can't remember the person's name, but apparently he's supposed to be really vast knowledge of it, especially in the rehabilitation centre, I believe. Some of those appointments were very strong appointments, I would say, from Labour to show that they perhaps are going to get things done. Again, like I said, time will tell, and I said to judge them on the first 100 days. So I would say it's been a mixed bag. Of a mixed bag here from the first 100 days for Labour. A joined up approach on devolution means looking at the Timpson. Was that the new prison minister? Joined up approach on devolution means looking at the issue through both ends of the telescope, replicating on building on the success of local government while in action, while giving away more powers to those with limited access to it. It's still early days, but Labour has already shown some initial promise on both. Last month, the government unveiled plans to build on Andy Burnham's success in Greater Manchester by empowering local leaders to take control of their own bus services, and reportedly looking to invite local authorities to so-called devolution deserts to take on more power. I hope so. I hope they're given a bit more power. But I also hope that they're giving some money towards it as well, because it's all well and good giving them more power, but it's no good if they don't have some more money to support them. But the rhetoric and announcements we've seen so far, while positive, are far from significant. A successful approach on devolution can't just be about small nudges in the right direction. However positive they may be, it needs to come alongside a root and branch overhaul of our entire political culture. This means, crucially, coming to terms with new centres of power beyond the grip of Westminster and Whitehall. Labour has always been prone to excessive centralisation, and the party under Starmer is no exception. Dispersing genuine power across the country means learning to let go of these tendencies, embracing the change with open arms. Despite the rhetoric, it is not clear that Labour is ready for what this might entail. Bit in riddles there, shall we say, in those last bits there from him. Baroness Ruth Listener, a Labour peer. The early weeks in government weren't, on the whole, promising. So despite the slash and burn politics of the past decade, Labour's manifesto had very little to say about social security and potential contributions to new government missions. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. The early weeks in government weren't on the whole promising. First was the continued refusal to abolish the two-child limit in the face of widespread pressure and clear evidence that it acted as a key driver in rising in child poverty, especially deep poverty. Yeah. The early announcements of ministerial task force to develop a child poverty strategy was welcoming, but struggling parents and children deprived of decent childhoods need the money now. Second was the surprise announcement of the means testing the winter fuel allowance without a review of the consultation and options for its reform. Yeah. The temporary extension of the local authority household support fund, while welcome, is no answer, especially as its long-term future remains uncertain. In her first speech as Secretary of State, Liz Kendall emphasised that the DWP would change from a Department of Welfare to a Department of Work. While positively she talked about ending the blame culture that demonises claimants, she has also emphasised the obligation to seek and take work. I don't like that they're changing it from Department of Welfare to Department of Work. This whole premise of just trying to demonise people, to try and force people into work. I don't like that, in my opinion. Promising white paper will no doubt clarify where the balance will lie between a carrot and a stick, in particular to relations to disabled and long-term sick claimants. In the meantime, the PM has announced yet another crackdown on fraud, while with the apparent resurrection of the Snoopers Charter, which will require banks to share data with the DWP officials. Yeah, I hate that. Tracking people's money. It's disgusting. I hate this. There is no word yet about the universal credit review promised in the manifesto. Much will depend on what is in the forthcoming white paper and the budget, with hints that further cuts could be on the card. But from what has been said and not said so far, it seems that if shades of New Labour social security matters purely in terms of getting people into paid work rather than as a key pillar of the welfare state, which the function of which is to provide genuine security for all. It's just written by the entire Byline Times team as well there. So some interesting thoughts there from a couple of different people there, I would say. But yeah, it has been a mix. I would say it's been a mixed bag. I'm probably going to give, if I had to give out of 10 how I think the Labour government has done in these first 100 days, I'm going to give a 5 out of 10 because there are decisions that they made that they did not have to make. Political decisions that will deeply affect people. One of the key reasons why I'm not going higher than 5 is the main one for me is the the winter fuel payment. I think that's a brutal and disgusting one. But there are, as it says there are some positives that the government has done. And when was the last time we heard some positive things from a Conservative government, like announcing positive things that would benefit people and society? Very rare you heard it from the Conservatives. So I know it's not as much as people would want, but it is a step in the right. There are some positives to look at. But like I said, my position on, I did say to judge them on the first 100 days, and that's my judgment. I think a 5 out of 10. They could do a hell of a lot better. But have the first 100 days been better than the first 100 days of Conservatives in power? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's been a hell of a lot better than what we've had with the Conservatives, despite the fact that we still haven't got a budget from this Labour government at the moment. I'm still holding judgment till next year, just as I said I would, said Wenry Pagan. Yeah, like I said, the budget will say a lot. I'm descendant of Burgessie's one angry pagan, so maybe stones in blood red. They're not doing much in Scotland. Labour made promises without facts, and now running around trying to please everyone because every group voted for them for different reasons. Yeah, they shouldn't be trying to hold on to votes for people. They should just be getting on with the job. And if they piss off a lot of people, then so be it. That's what they should be, just getting on with things, not trying to please people. People who have raised up in the career to top level obviously know what they're doing. These are experts we need, and not some lawyer, accountant, political graduate from Oxford with no experience. Yeah, that's why I like some of the appointments that Labour government have appointed some experts in this. I think that's really, really important. All politicians need experts, says Jow, because an expert gives them the cold, hard facts that they need to deal with. 100%. Experts are important. You know, Michael Gove saying we stop relying on experts. He's an absolute moron. Doesn't absolutely know what he's talking about. I'd like to see him try and play doctor for one day. He'd make people worse off than better off. The now Secretary of the UN, Goulet, said when he was Prime Minister here, something like, I expect them to do the mathematics and figures. My job is to organise them. Must have missed that conversation, unfortunately, on that. I half have not seen any plans for the inevitable sea level rises and subsequent upheavals, says one angry pagan. Genie Bowl says credit card monitors what is bought may be used to false folk to only be able to get the minimum goods like food and bills, cards no extra like booze or Netflix account card, etc. They should not need to monitor people. You know what? If I was generally those people, I would just take the money out and take it out as cash if I could, just so that I'm not being monitored about how I handle my goddamn money. Government does not trust people. It's ridiculous. because they've broken the trust. Governments have broken trust of the British public, and that kind of thing is disgusting. You know, having to check on them and all that. It really is. Right, so I've got to remember that these two stories were not done tonight. Okay, guys, so just before we head out, well, I've been going for nearly 2 hours, but before we wrap up, I've just got one more funny story for you guys. This actual video is from a week ago. It is a bit old, but I haven't seen it, so I wanted to see it. I know some of you guys probably already have seen this one, but like I said, I've been out for a while, but I hope you guys enjoy this one from Matt Green, where the Labour Party asks, "Can we start again, please?"
First few weeks in office, culminating in the resignation of Sue Gray, the Labour government has asked, would it be possible to start again, please? Our dress rehearsals, do-overs, and let's pretend that never happened correspondent Jonathan Goodenough has more. Yes, that's right. Earlier today, the Labour Party put out this statement. We've worked out what we're doing now, so let's just call the last 100 days a practice run. Yeah? Right. They then added, people keep saying that we've had 14 years to prepare for this, but actually Corbyn was in charge for some of that time, and then there was COVID and Ukraine and a lot of football matches and concerts we had to attend. Before the election, they said they'd hit the ground running. If they did hit the ground running, then their legs were going in the wrong direction, and the ground was at a different angle than they expected. So what happens now? Well, Labour have asked everyone to forget all the problems and missteps, delete any social media snark, ignore all the press coverage, and prepare for a professional, competent, and mistake-free government starting from now. So, is this a reset? No, apparently reset sounds too much like what the previous government tried to do. This is a complete reboot without saving changes. And is that actually possible? Of course not. What's gone wrong? Well, the way that the British political system has no handover period makes any transition difficult. And although Sue Gray had a lot of experience in the civil service, she also had a lot of enemies there. Right. There's also the perennial issue of trying to run a modern state from 10 Downing Street, essentially a house in central London, barely big enough to hold a party in. Okay. But also Keir Starmer seems to think that running a government is a bit like running a public service, whereas it actually involves a lot more politics than that. Can you explain that in simple terms? Well, it's like he thinks he's on the chase, but it's actually the traitors. Much simpler. And any politician who thinks they don't need to do much politics will quickly come to grief. So what happens now? Well, Labour's top team has been reshuffled, and they'll hope they can get a grip on things before the much-awaited budget being delivered the day before Halloween. The timing seems to be a bit on the nose. They don't seem to think that symbolism is a thing. So once the budget is revealed, everything will be clear and everyone will get down to business. Yes, or they'll want to do another reset soon afterwards and go for a best of 3. Next up, as it's revealed that Angela Rayner bought a suit for her partner using her own money, we ask, how can a self-professed socialist buy things from a shop in a capitalist society? And after we've spent about 10 minutes on that, we'll see if we can squeeze in some news about the Middle East.
I love that. That was brilliant. Oh, Matt Green, guys. Make sure you check out Matt Green Comedy on his YouTube channel. Absolute brilliant stuff as always. I really need to see a live show of his. I really, really do. It is definitely on my bucket list. That is for sure, guys. Right. So, guys, like I said at the start of the live stream, I obviously need to set up. I'll set up the live streams for this week. It'll probably be all the same times, yeah, there'll be plenty of content. I will be around. I'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. for the Snowflake Corner, where I'll cover world news. Oh God, I've been burping too much. Do apologise, guys. So if you got nothing else planned tomorrow afternoon, if it happens to be your day off work and whatnot, you do feel to come and check out the world news. I do already have the funny memes ready for it, by the way, as well, guys. So I know number 3 is excited to see that. And then on Wednesday, if there is Prime Minister's questions, I will host that here on the channel, as well as covering Snowflake Watch back at 8 p.m. Thursday, wait and see on that one. You just have to keep your eyes out for the scheduling on that one. And Friday we will have at 7 p.m. Will be the Snowflake conflict, guys. So do come and join me on that. So I'll give, obviously, and don't forget that obviously Daily Blase will have a live stream on Friday at 5 p.m. and obviously Dave McGuinness of the Two Davies channel, obviously does the paper reviews at 10:30, and every Monday and Thursday they have their show on at 4 p.m. as well. So do check out their content as well, guys. So thank you guys all for coming along. Thank you, Alistair Keir, for the gifted memberships. Thank you, Dave McGuinness, for the super chat earlier as well, for the £2 super chat. I greatly appreciate it, guys. And yes, obviously I will still get myself back into Gander, but yeah, for members, content is already available for you guys. That's going to be dropping over the next couple of days already. So if you guys want to check that out, members, you're more than welcome to do so. We'll just see the gang here before we head out. Oh, he's all smiles now. He's all smiles now. I don't know when he turned smile, but he's decided to turn his head away for some reason. He turned his head away, guys. I don't know. He didn't want to look. There you go. Is it me, or does the lava lamp look like it's slanted? It's almost like it's going to tip over. I have to look into that. Wow. Bah humbug. Okay, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care as always, and hopefully I'll catch you guys on the other live streams that go take on, or in other live streams as well. But just before I go, I have just one last thing to say. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share this across social media so others are notified of this video. If you're following me on Twitch, do hit the follow button. Be greatly appreciated as well. If you haven't subscribed already to the YouTube channel, please consider subscribing because it really does help support. If you want to go one step further and financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by being a YouTube member for just as little as 99p. You can also join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms as well. Check out the links in the descriptions for all other social medias. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.